Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Hey, good morning, folks. Well, we're going to start out the day looking at the coffee because, we were looking at that as the hypothetical trade of the year. We bought it at 155. We had our stop at 155. And as you can see, the stop would have been hit today at exactly 155. And it immediately reversed by 7 or 8 cents so far. I'm bringing this to your attention because of the fact of the amount of risk control that is involved. And that's basically it. Had I done this as a trade of the year, I certainly would have done exactly the same thing. I did not want to go to a loss after having almost a $3,000 profit at one time. Now, you could say, well, why didn't you take the profit there at the first ABCD and then buy it back on the pullback? Yes, I could do that, but that's called second guessing, and I don't want to do that. I got more emails about the poker tournament that we had here for the orphanage at the casino on the Indian reservation than anything else this weekend. But I'll tell you basically what it is. We have a nice two casinos here, and they play poker in both of them. They play Texas Hold'em and Omaha and some crazy stuff. But the tournament involves you buy $80 worth of toys for the kids, and then you put a $25 fee to enter the tournament, and then they add $15,000 to the pot. So we have about 100 players. And these players play on Friday, Saturday, and then the two winners on Fridays and Saturday get together. They played for the finals on Sunday, and I was fortunate enough to make it to the finals on Sunday, and I had about $20,000 in chips, which was the average chip size at that time was $50,000. So I was way down the list. I was probably out of the there were 47 of us left, and I was probably about 35th or 36th on the list. And then by random they set you at different tables, and I was placed with the best players in the tournament with the highest numbers of chips, and I was happier than little pig in poop. And I'll tell you why. Because if you want to go fishing, you want to go where the fish are out in a pool. And believe me, folks, these guys are really, really good. So I knew exactly what I was up against. I knew that I had to play really tight and to wait for a really good hand and then just really go for it. And I know that they like to play ace-king and ace-queen, quite a bit. And they get a pocket pair. Folks, you only get a pocket pair. In other words, aces or deuces or eights or tens, whatever that pocket pair is. You only get 17 to 1 of getting that. And so you have to wait till you get a good pocket pair and go for it. Well, my first pocket pair was a pair of tens, and I got beat on that, so I was down 3,000, so I only had 17,000 left. And my next pair, 20, 30 minutes later, I had a pair of jacks. And the pair of jacks held up, and I went from 18,000, I went up to 35,000. And then right after that, I had a pair of nines, and now I'm at 70,000. Well, in about 3.5 hours later, the old cowboy was sitting there with $350,000 in chips, and I was the leader of the pack, which was good. We got down to the last 6 players, and we split the money and gave half of it to the charity, for the kids for extra parties and clothes and stuff like that. So I walked away with a couple $100, and it was a lot of fun, and we really had a good time. And a lot of old friends were there, and it was really quite a lot of fun for the 2 days that I got to play. But it was exciting, and Sarah got to see they wouldn't let her come close to the tables because they don't like the public being around when we're playing that. But I had a lot of chips, and it was a lot of fun. So that's the way it goes. Anyway, that's all it's about. It's no big deal. It's a lot of fun, especially if you like playing poker. And poker has so many things that are equate to speculation. Basically, when you play poker, you really have an advantage because you get to play when you want to play and not when the house wants to play. Every other gambling event other than poker is predicated on an event happening, the turn of a card, the spin of the wheel, roll of the dice, blow of the whistle, toss of the ball, whatever it happens to be. Once that starts, it goes to the very end. With poker, it's different. You're given 2 cards, and you can decide whether you want to play or not. You don't have to put up any money at all. Okay, now if you decide to play, then of course you have to wait until the game is over. But then you get 3 cards up there, and then you can stop playing after the 3 cards. So there's a lot of things that you can do that is not related to gambling at all. It's not like betting on the Packers to beat the Bears by a point spread of 6 or whatever the heck it's going to be. You just can't do that. This is different. We are intelligent risk speculators, as my good friend John Hill used to say, because that's what we do. We try to manage what the risk is going to be, and that's why it's so very important. Our guest today will be Rich Anderson. He's got some really good stuff on the grains and the oil market and all kinds of stuff like that. But let's talk about the oil market today and everything, because we've been talking about this pattern here. I'll get the heating oil up here, and you'll be able to see it here today. And believe me, folks, I am on holiday mode until January. I'm only going to do a few trades. I'm not watching the markets all the time. I'm really resting up because I see some stuff that's really going to be, going to be really fabulous for this coming year. Even though this year was incredible, I think next year the volatility that we're going to see is awesome. Now, this is the big ABCD on the daily heating oil chart. As you can see, we're down there, stopped at the 1.27 expansion within just a few cents of the large ABCD pattern. And then you can see today that we had this huge move here in the heating oil contract. We're also seeing it in the crude oil contract. But what you want to do is when you're waiting for something like that is you try to get down to a smaller time frame. And that's what I'm going to do now, is to show you. Now, hey, I'm doing this in past tense, boys and girls. So listen, this is not really hard. So get this up here. You'll be able to see it. There's your low. And you see how we came down and we make a higher bottom here? Right there at the exact 61% retracement. You go up, and then this morning, what do? You make another 61% retracement at a higher bottom. Now, if you're looking for a place to entry, that's it, because you've got 2 higher bottoms, and you've also got the potential that this may be the ABCD pattern. Do we know what's going to be? Of course not. But after you see this move here of about quite a bit, about 17 cents, you know that you're looking for something that's really big. Now, you had a little bit of a pullback here. Now, what I'll be watching now is I want to be watching to see if we get a 382 of this move right here. Then that's going to tell me something that is going to be, pretty important, because you really haven't changed the trend from anybody other than making taking out these highs of the last few days. Maybe that changes the trend from some people. Most people have to get it above the moving averages, and they haven't even come close to that there. So start watching for 382 pullbacks in both the crude oil and in the heating oil. I don't trade gasoline, but those are the 2 that I'd be watching, because they've got a really chance, to do something, pretty significant, because we're in that zone where you got to pay really close attention to it, at least from my perspective. And I'm just looking at it from risk control, and that's what I'm really looking at. Now, when we get back from the break, I want to share with you a really cool couple of charts that we have from our good friend Mr. Z over there at the Tiger Den. And when we get back, after paying a few bills, by the way, this is your last day to buy Tiger dollars today. If you want a nice way to save money for the year, that's the way to do it. Contact TFNN, save some bucks. 877-927-6648. Billy Ray Valentine, Capricorn.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN. Educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, folks, I posted a chart of what Mr. Z sent to me this morning. He posted in the Tiger Den. Great place for you to have some good ideas if you're looking for someone to talk about trades and stuff during the day. Try the Tiger Den out for TFNN. It's really got some smart people in there, folks. I can attest to that. I don't go into the den because I try not to trade two things after usually 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning. And the second thing, I get really busy the first part of the day. But other than that, I've got more time. But if you got time on your hands and you want to know how to do this stuff, let's pay attention to it. Now, you can see here, Mr. Z has put this chart up. This is a longer-term chart. We had a big sell-off in crude oil from the 135 level to where we are down today, down about double or half the price of what it was, down around 70 cents, $70 per gallon. And so that's where we are. But what he also sent was a really neat chart. This is the January crude now. It's a 15-minute chart. You'll get up here, and this will be talking to you about the trends that you're watching here, because as you're looking at this, you'll see, and this was up to date as of just a little while ago, this high that we had right up in here was a 61% retracement of that high right here. Now, we backed off just a little bit from that level. So the one thing that I'll be watching is to see if that's going to be a 382 pullback to the downside. Now, I don't know whether that's going to happen or not, but that's how I set up a trade to see whether I'm able to get in the trade, without, breaking an arm and a leg as far as risk control. And I certainly, I don't like to do that at all. That's the main thing. Now, when we were on the air just a few minutes ago, I brought a chart that I was trying to show you this morning. I didn't know it was going to happen until while I was on. I thought it might be a little later in the morning. But as we were looking at this chart, this was the December. This is a contract that I'm still trading. I'll trade this for 2 more days, and then I'll be out of it before Thursday 15th will be the last day. And so that you certainly want to be out of it by tomorrow. But anyway, it did hit the exact number at Fibonacci number at 6150. 39.65.50, and then it backed off. But it also was the 78% retracement of this rally yesterday. Remember, we had this big break after the Fed thing on the CPI or ABC and DGF, whatever it was. Then you rally right up to the 78% level. Then you make the big A, B, C, D here last night. Then you rally up to the 61% retracement. My goodness, now you got 3 lower highs in here. If it gets above this number now, I will be out of the trade. And of course, we sold it right here at 88. And so at 78, we'll book a profit. At 68, we'll book a profit of $1,000 and go there. Now, also, we've been short the bonds. The Treasury bonds look like they were making a very significant, and I do mean significant, top here on some of these bonds. And I am also in the notes. We were trading the bonds because of the fact that they're much larger quality, but the easiest one to see it in was in the Treasury notes. Now, if you look at this chart, this is a long-term chart, so you'll be able to see it pretty nicely because it's a weekly. And we rallied up to that 50% retracement. Look at these rally. I mean, they're right on the money. So this is 8 weeks up. This was 8 weeks up. This was 16 weeks up. So here's where we are right now. But let's pay attention to what John Jameson says in our newsletter here this week. Is we've got a major ABCD to the downside. This is going back 2.5 years, folks, when they remember the bonds were 171 and they were feeding us a story about we're going to have negative interest rates for the first time in history like some of the other countries. Well, not so fast. Anyway, we could easily get a 382 off of this whole thing. And so what we want to do is we want to watch the quality of the bonds. Now, they're down 2 full points, well, a point and a half, point and 3/4 from where we sold them. So that's about $1,500. So on that, you don't want that to go to a loss. So you put your stop. So you lock in at least a $500 profit. And you don't know what's going to happen next. Nobody knows that. So you just got to do it one step at a time. And that's the only way you can get by with these things, is just to do that one step at a time. Really, that's pretty much the only way you can do that. Now, I know a lot of you folks don't believe in Bitcoin. I don't know if it's a fad or what. I don't think it's a fad because the Chicago Mercantile Exchange would not have put them on alert and futures in their portfolios of stuff, and they follow that stuff really close. So they got smart people saying, yeah, this is not a bubble. But if we look at this long-term chart, this is a log chart, and I wanted to show you what it looks like here because, hold on here a second, and we'll be able to see it. There's where we are. You'll see what we're looking for now is this to come down to below these levels one more time, down to about 10,000 in the Bitcoin and around, I think, somewhere around 600 in Ethereum. In other words, about a 50% break from where we are right now. And that, my friend, is where John Jameson thinks this will be the absolute buy of the year. Now, I'm just looking at it as a technical person giving you information because I will not be trading this. I've been around this racetrack too many times, and I don't want to get into an area that I know very little about. I know one thing really good, boys and girls, and that's AB equals CD and what to do with it. And then even then, I'm only right 2 out of 3 times. That's the main thing. See, yes, let me give you an example. Yesterday in the poker tournament, okay, all these guys that I'm playing with on that first table, they love ace-king. Now, ace-king is a really good hand, but it only wins 2/3 of the time. The other thirds of the time that it loses. And who does it lose to? A pocket pair. Because a pocket pair, no matter what the flop is, you've got a chance to win. And the reason why is you can make a full house, 3 of a kind, a straight, all different things. That's why pocket pairs are so good. You only get them once out of 17 times. How often do you get the ace-king? Guess what? Take a guess. Right. 1 out of 17 times. So anytime you start the game there, before you get the cards in your hand, you know you're 17-1 underdog to anybody else. When you get the 2 cards in your hand, that all changes. So what you got to do is you got to wait for a good trade. Well, a good trade for me is ABCD. And what's another good trade? Oh, 382. What's another good trade? Oh, that's a 135 pattern. What's a butterfly? What's a Gartley? All those are trades that I can use. And that's the same thing in poker. All it is the different cards that you're getting. One of the stupidest trades you can play is a jack Jacks and Queens, play Jack and a Queen. You remember the movie Maverick, Living on Jacks and Queens? You don't live on Jacks and Queens. You die on Jacks and Queens. If you have a pair of Jacks or a pair of Queens, that's a real hand. But a Jack and a Queen, not so good. Too many ways you can lose. And playing for straights and flushes, they don't call them flushes for a reason, folks. Because whenever you have looking at a flush, think of that whirling sound that you see every morning. If you live in the United States, some people don't hear that swirling noise. But anyway, that's it. Hey, we got Rich Anderson coming up at the break. He's got some really great stuff. We'll be right back. 877-927-6648.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metal sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we're back, and I believe we have Rich Anderson on the line today. Rich, how are you doing?
Doing great, Larry, doing great.
Rich, you sent us a chart that I posted in here about the oil stocks, the reserves that we have. You want to talk to us about, we were spending a lot of time because Mr. Z today was looking for a bottom here in crude oil and heating oil and stuff. So I was just wondering what your thoughts on this. Can you give us what your heads up is?
Well, we got two things. We've got, everybody, the consensus view is we're going into recession next year. And keep in mind, at the beginning of this year, the Fed fund futures were showing us that we'd be at 8.82% interest rate. And I believe the interest rates are up over 4% now. So, they were off by a magnitude of 400%, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be a little careful of the consensus. You got the Keystone Pipeline's got a leak or someplace that they're working on. That's 600,000 barrels a day. But down in Texas, you've got the pipeline that goes to the Gulf. That's just normal maintenance and repair that's going on. In the meantime, the oil that would normally go there to the refiners to go out of the Gulf is going up to the Henry Hub, and that's putting extra pressure on the crude. I actually think I would have to agree that the opportunity is, the bell is going to ring here shortly, and the opportunity is going to be on the upside. It's clearly it's new lows right now, but the indicators that I use say conditions exist for a change in trend. The stuff that I developed myself to trade pork bellies 40 years ago. And they don't trade pork bellies anymore. But it works in all markets. And, whatever your trigger is, you always want to take intelligent risks. And I consider myself a calculated risk taker, and I constantly remind myself that I'm a calculated risk taker, and that's what it's all about. It's taking calculated risks and in the time frame that you're familiar with. So I think there's real opportunity there. I do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with you. And I was talking about the Fed. People forget that they're wrong on a lot of different things. I remember you and I so vividly back in 2007, we were worried about real estate because the friends that we had in California and also in Florida that were just absolutely going off the rails because, the property had doubled, tripled, and they were using margin, just having 3 and 4 houses at a time. The person I'm talking about. And then fortunately he got out about halfway down still with his hind end intact, but so many people didn't because, they were thinking, like Bernanke said, gee, there all looks like green lights here. Except on October 15th, the green light turned red, and not many people were ready for it. So, I don't know if this recession is going to happen, or maybe we're already through it. Hey, by the way, you sent in a really cool chart here. I wanted to send this about the recession and stuff, so you could talk about that, the different type. Hold on just one second so I can get it up here. And there you go.
By the way, there could be, even though the markets are basically going to shut down for the year after Thursday. I mean, Wednesday we have the Fed talking and interest rates, but then you have 9 other central banks that are, expected to raise their interest rates on Thursday. And then after that, there's not much excitement until the first of the year. And I've noticed over the years, if I did nothing during that time frame until after the first year, I'd be so much more money ahead because, thin markets are fluky and you can't take the calculated risks you need.
Yeah, we were talking during the time I was at Drexel, if you remember, from about the 5th of December till the end of the year, all I did was close position and put stuff on that people want. I didn't do any trading, and most people didn't either. They just got the books ready for taxes and stuff. But, the Drexel thing was if you haven't made your money in the first 11 months, you're not going to make it. Because if you try to do it in a thin market, boy, those are tough. And, look at them. Some of these things are just, they're monsters how they move so quickly. And there's another example about if you don't use the stop, you're dead because you don't know what's going to happen next. Gosh darn.
But sometimes, a flash number comes out and there's 100 handles between last trade and where it trades again. And so even then a stop doesn't protect you. So you kind of want to avoid trading in front of reports. That's my advice on that.
Rich, I had a really good senior moment here on the Saturday. I was watching a movie that you remember when you were out visiting once. You and I and Mark went to see Analyze This with Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal. Remember about the mafia guy? And Mark laughed so hard. We sat through it twice, folks. That's how much we liked it. Anyway, it was on one of the movie channels, and I saw it, and God, I'll tell you, I was in tears. I mean, not just laughing, and I laughed a lot, but I was remembering Mark and how much fun we had. And then later on, I bought the video for him so he could watch it. But God, he loved that. He loved that movie. He knew every line in that movie. And that was 1999, Rich. Can you believe that? That's, 23 years ago, for God's sake?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It really
sure is. Yeah.
It really
All right,
is.
let's keep going here. Now, tell us about the grains. What's happening with the corn and stuff? And the beans?
Well,
what are you seeing there?
The crop report, the WASDE report came out on Friday, and the only big announcement was that they lowered the production 4.5 million metric tons in Ukraine and 1 million metric tons in Russia. So that tightened up but then they decided, well, we're actually going to feed 5 million metric tons less corn in the world. So then it's much ado about nothing. There's major weather concerns starting to develop in Argentina and southern Brazil. That could have a real story to it. In 15 out of the last 15 years, the corn makes a low in early December and tends to go higher into January. It's always higher in January than the low in December. That's just because of how demand works. And so I'd be, if you saw the market action that you preferred that gave you a signal, I'd be watching the March corn. But otherwise, it's the weather in the U.S. on our hard red winter wheat is serious, but weather doesn't become a concern until we get to spring.
That's right.
There's a drought there now, but that doesn't hurt the wheat now. It will in the spring, but it won't hurt it now. So you can't trade something that's not going to make any difference for the moment. Yeah. So you just have to show patience, discipline, and patience. That's the secret.
That's for sure. Now, we got about another minute or so to go, and I wanted to ask you, Rich, you've been watching these markets for a long time, and I know your area of cryptocurrencies is not your favorite thing, but tell me, what's your feeling on the cryptocurrencies and blockchains? Do you believe this is a viable thing? I mean, they're listed at the Merck, so what's your feeling?
I think it's a non-event. I think blockchain as a technology is going to be very valuable. But I think the governments will come up with their own digital thing, and Bitcoin and all those things. Bitcoin was just the Charmin of toilet paper, and I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. When Powell talks on Wednesday, even if he only raises it 50%, he'll be talking about the dot plot, and they'll be raising the dot plot, and he's going to try and talk up their tightness. So that's a key thing to look at. And then the other key thing is, I've noticed that there's a huge open interest in short-dated options for this week. Could make things really volatile in the stock market.
Hey, listen, thanks for joining us, buddy, and we'll have you on again after the first year. I'll be talking to you, of course, and I want to wish you at least a wonderful holiday, but I'll give you a call this week. Okay, buddy?
All right. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
You bet. Rich Anderson, folks. We'll be right back. 877-927-6648.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Okay, folks, even, I mentioned that I'm in a holiday mode here, but, that doesn't mean I don't trades. I trade something every day usually, but, not very much. I'm usually running around doing other stuff. Let's walk through a couple of things here that may or may not be interesting to you. I think I heard on the news yesterday, it was this morning with Tommy, they were talking about Carvana, and I wanted to bring this up to you because it really... Well, just it epitomizes it. You can't believe that stuff that's out there, boys and girls. I mean, God, the stuff that they feed you. I mean, it's like cannon fodder. Look at this. This stock was trading for $350. Now, you can see the double ABCD patterns that are here. There's A, B, C, D. There's another perfect A, B, C, D. You see these numbers right here? 363, 365. Those are what we call price targets, folks. Now, your first indication that something was wrong was right here. This is a daily 382 retracement. So you sell below that, and you would have been able to buy the stock back a tiny bit cheaper. But if you looked at the 382s all the way down, there's a 382 off of that one. You know where this stock is going, don't you, boys and girls? I mean, it's under $5 now. Stock's under $5 that were $350. You're not going to make it. So it's not going to be a Merry Christmas for these folks. So remember, folks, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you don't lose. In a poker tournament, if you lose all your chips, you get to go home and that's it. But if you still got a chip, there's an old adage there, a chip in a chair. In other words, if you have a chair at the table and you have a chip, you still have a chance. The very first tournament I won 30-some years ago was a 7-card stud tournament, and I had $300, and people at the table had thousands, and I won that tournament because I didn't lose another hand. And that's basically it. So you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, as old Kenny Rogers used to say, and sometimes you got to go all in, and sometimes you got to go all out. But that's it. Anyway, that's my poker playing for the end of the year. And anyway, it was a lot of fun. And I remember when Mark Douglas lived here, he would go down and play in our monthly tournament. And you buy in for $50. And it was amazing how many times he would make it to the final table and make a few bucks. And he only played 10 hands. Any big pocket pair, which is 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, kings, queens, aces, he did that. And if he played ace, king, and ace, queen, and that's all he played. If he didn't get those, he just tossed his cards away. But during that time frame, you're going to, because you got every 17 hands, you're going to get a pocket pair, and you got to wait for that time to do it. And try to play in a pot that's got a lot of people in it. If you're playing somebody that's heads up, that doesn't have any more chips than you, it's no fun to play against him. It's just a risk you don't need to take. So anyway, that's a little bit about that stuff. There's going to be more about poker and how it relates to the financial markets when we go into into the newsletter this coming week to explain that. I don't know if you watch the World Series of Poker, but so many guys. Ackerman is there, Einhorn is there. I mean, these guys are, really in there playing a lot. So that's the main thing, that they watch that game the same as we do, and they're at a different level, of course, but that's the same thing. It's all about the stuff that you want to get ready to play with. Now, let's take a look here at this bond trade that we've been watching. This is the switching over to the March Treasury bonds now, and if you'll notice here, I want to get this up here. You'll be able to see it. We only have 2 trades on. We took a 6-cent loss in corn. We tried that from the short side last night, and we lost $300 in that. But this one's working very well. We sold it right here at the 382 level, and you can see here we got the ABCD to the downside right about here. Now, if that works, and we're already taking this low out, so that tells us we're probably heading there. That has a $3,000 profit up, and we will probably go long there because that's an ABCD in a bull market, and so we'll probably go long somewhere in that area, but we'll be covering shorts down here at the 128, 127 level in the March Treasury bonds, and that's what we're looking at. Now, this is not close to completion yet, but later this week we'll be following it and see how we get down to that level. And all we do now is we moved our stop to right there. That would lock in $500 in case something goes crazy to the upside. Remember what we have on Wednesday as an early present is we have Mr. Powell in his Christmas suit with all his elves will be out there telling us what's going to happen next. And remember, folks, when you look at these charts, look at these highs and lows that are made during Fed time and all the emotionalism in there. So pay really close attention what they're trying to tell you. Let the market say whether it's going to go up or down. How many times we've seen these monster rallies, and then 3 days later, bada bing, bada boom, the man with the sickle and the hooded outfit, Mr. Death, is right behind it. So pay close attention to these things because it's something that really needs to be taken care of. Now, one other chart that I wanted to bring to your attention here and to show you the difference here in the spread. Now, Rich also sent this, but I didn't get a chance to ask him about it. This is the spread between from the S&P 500, the SPX, and also oil. And you notice here that they follow along relatively well. You can see the highs and lows in some of these things, but look at the spread that we have now, folks. This is the largest spread we've had between oil and the stock market in a long time. You see on the way down how they're going together? That's okay, but look at this. See, this is going higher, this is going lower. That doesn't happen. Look, it happened here at a major bottom. You see that? Oil was making a bottom as stocks are making a top. So we're at a critical level here, and here we are in December, and the markets are thinner in December. And so you got to be really careful and always use stops in all these markets, because if you don't, you're telling Mrs. Market that, by golly, I know more than you do, and I don't need to use a stop. And if you believe that, I still have 2 shares of the Brooklyn Bridge available for sale today at a reduced price of off 20%, just as a Christmas bonus. So that's the main thing that you want to be paying attention to as you're looking at these markets here today. Tim Bost is still on the mend. I hope he's going to be okay. I haven't heard anything bad coming out of Florida, so I guess he's on the mend. So if I hear anything, I'll let you know. But keep sending white light out to him because we'd like to get him back on board. He's always fun. He's got some great trades that he shared with us through these years, and so we'll hopefully have him back on. And also, I believe I'm going to try to have Bill Meridian from Cycles Research out of Vienna, Austria on. Stan Harley will be here in Arizona. We're going to be breaking bread with him on Wednesday, and so that'll be a lot of fun. And we'll have Peter Leidy sometime after the first of the year. He's also in holiday mode and just doesn't want to do any presentations or anything, but I can certainly understand. Now, when we get back, I want to share a chart that you got to pay real close attention to, folks, because if you want to know, like in the movie All the President's Men, follow the money, well, by golly, we're going to follow the money when we come back from the break in the old yellow metal market. We'll be right back, 877-927-6648.
The TFNN Holiday Tiger Dollar Sale is running this week only. We've doubled our normal bonuses where you can now get up to a 40% bonus on your purchase, and all purchases also receive a TFNN Tiger Mug. Tiger Dollars are good for all TFNN newsletters, trading webinars, and services, so they're a great way to lock in added savings. Don't miss the TFNN Holiday Tiger Dollar Sale, which ends this Monday, December 12th. For all the details, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Sign up for Basil's live webinar airing this Thursday, December 15th. Basil Chapman will be hosting his first ever live trading webinar just in time for the holiday season. While Basil will focus on the S&P E-mini futures, other symbols from gold, crude oil to natural gas and more will be traded as appropriate. Basil will demonstrate specific Chapman wave techniques as well as answer questions live. Spots are limited and Basil goes live Thursday, December 15th. You don't want to miss it. To sign up, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Okay, we're back, folks. I posted a chart from, I believe the source was from, just a minute, I'll tell you. It's about the gold, where gold is going. It's from Bloomberg, from the World Gold Council. And basically, it shows here that how much the central banks have been buying gold this year. Look at this. This is off the charts. And look where we are in gold. I mean, hello, operator. Gold's getting ready to go higher. Why, I don't know. But for heaven's sakes, you know, last night we had a beautiful 382 sell in the gold at 1805. It's dropped a little over $17 from that level, but it was in the middle of the night. But, you know, I put that as something to keep an eye on. But now what we have now is we got to watch for a 382 retracement of this move here very closely here. So that's one of the things that I'm watching. And also I'm watching the crude oil for a retracement to get long. And also I'm looking, you know, the stocks were still short that. They're still acting okay. Whether that'll be that the way at the end of the day or not, I'm not, you know, totally sure, but at least it's working in that direction now. So let's remind ourselves, folks, of course, we're right almost back to that 61% retracement at 39.65. If we get above that 39.72 level, folks, that's where I'm going to be exiting from where we sold at 39.88. I'm not going to let that trade go to a loss. So keep that in mind. 39.72. If we get there, I'm going to book profits and, head for the hills. I'm also waiting for another sell in the euro. We're trading at that 105 level, and I think we'll get there closely. Listen, live every day in an attitude of gratitude. This is the Christmas season. Open your pocketbooks. Help somebody that need help. Total stranger is okay. Family's okay. Whatever you decide to do, share the wealth, boys and girls. We'll see you on the flip side tomorrow. Live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless.